So those two periods are the periods that you can look at whether they are the tier 1 or tier 2.
In terms of the 20-hour test, we actually look back to February 2020. So that's just before COVID kind of made things a bit weird in the world. And so tier 1, so I guess that's another distinction, or the name they've called it. Tier 1 is this one here. Tier 2 is the lesser amount. So we need to look at kind of the average hours worked in February. Now, there is also discretion to look at the month of June, isn't that right, Rez?
Yes.
So if you had someone start after March in your business who was employed at 1 July, they could be eligible for JobKeeper now. And so they wouldn't have been working in February if they've been hired after the 1st of March. So for cases like that, then you can also test their average hours worked in June, which is actually pretty nice. Yeah. So also there is ATO discretion to apply an alternative test if the employee's hours were not usual during the February 2020. So I would imagine that's things like sick leave, maybe maternity leave, maybe off work with an injury or something like that. We can have a look at seeking out some discretion there. And let's say they've picked back up since in hours. That might be really good evidence to show. And then the employer must nominate which payment rate is being claimed for each employee. So that'll be in the JobKeeper reporting. So in the initial reports, we sort of said, hey, look, here's our eligible employees. We had to list all their names. Some payroll software like Xero did a lot of the heavy lifting there for you. But now we'll need to go and further declare which rate that people are on, including the business participant.
That's right.
Yeah.
So just want to dive a little bit on that. So essentially what they want to see here is just before COVID hit, which is February, did you have a full-time employee or 20 plus hours, this is a test, per week that they have. So if they work for more than 20 plus hours per week in the period of 4-week period, so that's 4 weeks, so that's total 80 hours, then they will be eligible for tier 1. So you need to look at your employee list and look through all of them and go, which are the ones that are, call it full-time. I want to call it full-time to make it easy. The full-time employees, which are going to be eligible, and which are the ones that are not going to be eligible or who work less than hours, casuals and things like that. So there'll be 2 periods where you can test that. Like Ben said, there'll be that February, so just before March, 28 days, 4-week period before March, and then also 28 days or 4-week period before July. That's because you have new employees that could join in. They could be eligible as well before July. So those 2 periods are the periods that you can look at whether they are the tier 1 or tier 2. Now, if they don't meet the 80-hour test or 20 plus hours per week here, there are alternative tests like Ben's outlined there. And that's where, yeah, it's a little bit complex, but there's ways where they will look at your circumstances and then see whether the employee is meant to be in tier 1 or tier 2. So should they get paid more or not? So yeah, there's a little bit more complexity in there in drilling down whether your employee is in tier 1 or tier 2.
Yeah, wonderful.